I see you guys. Are you jingling your cans over there? Andrew, are you feeling ready? You want to come talk to the people? Yeah, I kind of want you to come talk. We couldn't have done the Hill without the veterans. And we're so grateful that they showed up, and they showed up in numbers, and they showed up and they represented, and they showed up and they got punched in the face, and they dealt with all the hassles at the front lines, and we couldn't have done it without them, with all the drama that the MSM was dropping about us disrespecting monuments, and the veterans showed up, and next thing you know, the War Memorial had never been cleaner and never been in better shape, and it was being guarded 24 hours a day. And so I want Veterans for Freedom to speak up, speak out, and they are joining us in this freedom movement. We're so grateful for their partnership and their alignment. Just one more team that we have that Trudeau doesn't, because we're winning. All right, here you go, Andrew. Andrew, Veterans for Freedom, guys.
Okay, how's everyone doing? As Bethan said, my name is Andrew. I'm a recently retired naval warfare officer. I retired 6 months ago. And so for the organization, what happened in Ottawa, a lot of us had, sorry, the medals are going, but a lot of the veterans came down and helped out the truckers in the certain areas of expertise that we had. We believe we played a big role down there. And so myself and 4 other veterans have started an organization called Veterans for Freedom. And you can get to the website at VETRANS.ca. We are just getting started. So if you can, donate to help out us in our endeavors, that'd be much appreciated. My friend Sammy over here has a gas can. We collected a bunch of money yesterday, and just because we're getting started, a lot of us are on half pensions and that sort of thing. We're not paying the vets to be there, but we're using that money to reimburse them for fuel and food to get down and support and provide security, etc. Okay, so we do need your help. So I'm going to talk about 2 things today. One is a current issue that's happening for our Canadian Armed Forces members. And right now, there is over 1,000 of my brothers and sisters in arms who are being threatened to be kicked out of the Canadian Armed Forces, and it's because they do not want to participate in this medical experiment. So there's going to be some news articles coming out about this within the next couple days, but ultimately there's over $800 million of our taxpayer dollars that are being kicked out of the military because they're not being vaccinated, okay? 17 pilots, fully trained pilots. It costs $30 million to train one of those pilots. 17 of them are being kicked out. 2 427 squadron pilots, so those are our special forces pilots who are cream of the crop. They are being kicked out. And so a lot of these guys and gals who are being kicked out, they have served our country, some of them for over 20 years, okay, over 20 years. They're a couple years away from their pension and their medical benefits for them and their family. They've sacrificed, and they're being kicked out, and they are getting nothing. They are getting nothing. No pension and no medical benefits. So if you can, talk to your MPs and ask them, say, what are you guys doing about our military, active duty military being kicked out of the armed forces? This is ridiculous. They've served our country and they're being kicked to the curb with dishonorable discharge, and they're getting nothing. And some of them, like I said, are only a few years away from their pension. And me personally, I have a problem with that. And as Canadians, we should have a problem with that as well. Okay, so that's the piece about the veterans, the organization, and some of the vets who are going to be helping out, who are active duty, are going to be getting kicked out. One of the other things that I've done personally with some of my brothers and sisters in arms, as I retired, we started a cooperative farm up in Haliburton County. And this is what a lot of people have been asking me about. And so I did not come up with the concept myself. I got it from a guy named Curtis Stone. He has a YouTube channel, The Urban Farmer, and we basically took that idea and expanded on that. And so what we have is we have a 30-person cooperative farm, Haliburton County. We focus on community, we focus on resiliency, and we focus on sustainability. Okay, so we build those three things into everything that we do. We're completely off-grid farm. We have all of our own food production, and basically what happens is that the members of the farm who are either active duty or retired military, they come up to the farm on the weekends, they farm, they get their yields, they stay over because we focus on accommodations and that sort of thing. And because I've been asked so much about it, we're going to just come up with a resource list of videos, ideas. We're going to give samples of our lease agreement that the farm has with me, our membership agreement, and we're going to put that up online. And we're going to be sharing with everyone. It's basically a blueprints and guidelines of how you can get this up and running in your local communities. And so the big thing that I've been pushing at some of these community groups I've been speaking to is, you as citizens, you need to fortify your communities. You need to build resiliency within your communities. So say, if you have someone who has some land, you can do community-supported agriculture. You can unplug yourself from the grid, provide your own food, and so that if something did happen with our supply chain, that you would be able to feed yourself, feed your families, and feed your kids. And one of the other things we do at our farm is when people come up, we hold classes. So we have an instructor. We run the PAL and RPAL classes up at our farm. We then do follow-on training. We help people get set up with what type of guns, whether it's for hunting, gear, whatever they want. So we help them with that. But then we also hold classes where we have farmers come into our class, teach us how to farm properly, how to raise chickens, how to do these things. So if you start to set that up within your community and you say, hey, this is a skill set I have, whether I'm a carpenter, whether I sew, whatever it is, you host those classes within your community and you get people to come and you teach them those basic skills that they need. And then they'll then host a class for what skills that they have, and that is how you build up that resiliency and that network within the community. So that is something very easy that you can do. You can find like-minded people in your community. You can say, hey, I'm a carpenter. Come get 10 people over here. I'll teach you the basics about carpentry, advise you on what tools to buy, etc. And then that starts to keeps going. And then that is how you're building up the sustainability, resiliency, and the skills within your community, because everyone has all this money saved and they're sitting on it. When push comes to shove and if stuff hits the fan, you need to rely on those skills. So we tell people, invest your money into skills and get involved in that regard. So we're going to announce, once we get all those resources up on our website, they're going to be for free, the blueprints of how you can set this stuff in your community. We'll eventually hope we'll have a group of people who'll be able to advise and help out for the people that need it. And then the key thing here, though, I won't speak too long, but the key thing is that when you're doing all this stuff, remember, it's for the greater good, okay? So we have to put aside our differences and our squabbles and personal issues, and what we say, we want to maintain mission focus. What are we looking to do? And what we say, again, is ego is the enemy, okay? So when I went to Ottawa, not to badmouth what happened there, but there was definitely egos who were clashing, and it was hurting the movement as a whole. And once we got those egos sort of taken care of and said, hey, it's there's a bigger movement here, put that stuff aside, ego's the enemy, and let's work towards a common goal. So you want to factor that in when you're doing everything. And then lastly, I'll leave it at, is just don't be afraid, okay? There's a lot of fear mongering there, and the people are afraid of the police and the government. That's what they want. They want you to be afraid. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of speaking. I wasn't afraid when I was squaring off with police officers. Remain calm and don't be afraid, okay? Because like I said, that is what they want. They want you to keep you afraid, keep you in your houses, not interact with people, and you just can't let them do that to you, okay? So fear, you gotta like push it aside. It's good to have a bit of healthy fear, but don't let it hold you back from doing anything. So. So I'm gonna plug two companies today, or right now. First one, everyone sees my hat. It says "We the Fringe" on it. Okay, there's a great group. It's actually a couple who lost their jobs based on the vaccine mandate. And they started this apparel company. So I think their Instagram handle is at We the Fringe, and then their website is the website is wethefringeapparel.com. So if you want any of the We the Fringe stuff, they have it there, and they give, I think, 10% of their proceeds. They put it back into the community, so they're a good company to support. They're out in Calgary. And then the second one, because we're off-grid, we have a really resilient, robust system built to keep our farm going. And the one guy who did an awesome job, his website is www.liveoffgrid.ca. His name is Shane. He travels all of Ontario, and he sets up off-grid, robust, resilient systems for people who want it. And we've had nothing but good things to say about that guy and his company, and they have a ton of business, and they're not going to rip you off. They actually quoted $15,000 less for the system that we set up. So if you're looking for some great solar advice, go to liveoffgrid.ca. His name is Shane, and he's a great guy. And that's pretty much all I have to say. So I'm going to be around here for a while. If anyone wants to come up and speak to me, ask me questions, I'll be here as long as it takes. Okay. Thank you.
Oh my goodness. Vets for freedom, guys. What's that? Well, I got a speaker's list. Let me get through.